Hello, Chive here, and here is the second instalment of 101 things you wish you'd invented and some you wish no one had. So, last week we did 1 to 5, which was time, mobile phones, matches, cloning, and fast food. So, in terms of the ones that I said that I would do later, let me find the matches one with the puzzles. I hope you all tried it. I eventually managed to do them. I do admit that I had to have a look. The answers, they were quite hard. I can't picture pictures from what I've got. But yeah, oops. And the fast food, making your own healthy version. I had sweet potato chips. They were quite nice. But I haven't made the burger. But I tend to make. A little thing on the screen. I tend to make burgers at home anyway, or meatloafs and stuff for my mum, so not as if it's an odd one for me. So we're going to do numbers 6 to 10 this time, and depending on whether or not I got the stuff for further ones, I'll record more videos today. No promises though. But yeah, number 6 is photography. Let me see the little camera. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat. But it says, most people keep photos of reminder of special people and moments. Unfortunately, photos can also remind us of all our bad hair days and fashion blunders. Some say geez. People have known how to project images using a pinhole camera for thousands of years. They were using them in China 2,500 years ago, but no one managed to get a permanent image until the 1800s. The first ever photograph was taken in 1826 by French inventor, and I cannot pronounce his name, by a French inventor, who used a pinhole camera to project the view from his window onto a photosensitive silver compound coated metal plate. It took 8 hours of bright sunlight to make the image permanent. 8 hours to take a photo, that's dedication. Someone teamed up with the French inventor and helped develop the process, and they took the first photo of a person in 1838. Yeah. Oh, even though it's a street scene, there's only one visible person in the photo, a man having his boots polished. Anyone or anything that didn't stay still for at least 10 minutes didn't show up. That's why Victorians took so stiff in photos, because they had to sit around for 10 minutes. Around the same time, William Talbot was busy inventing a method of taking a negative print, from which any number of photographs could be made. The oldest surviving negative dates from 1835, a rather unexciting image of one of the windows in Talbot's home. So yeah, now the form, you can see that is 9 different photos here, photo frames, and what you're supposed to do is get a copy of your favourite photos and cut them out and stick them in the book. I don't think you can get photos that small, but it says favourite self-portrait, favourite urban, favourite photograph of a funny moment, favourite photograph of an aeroplane, photograph of a landscape, favourite occasion, favourite animal photograph, favourite action photograph, favourite random photograph, pretty much. That's all there is to it. I don't really do photography. I don't take loads of photos because I'm not amazing. So I'll eventually fill that form up, but just so you're aware, so you can fill out the 9 categories, that's what's on it. Yes. Number 7 is time zones. Woo, it's got pictures of clocks. Time zones. It would be very confusing if the clocks at midday in one place and the sun was high in the sky, but in another place at midday the sky was pitch black and full of stars. Thank goodness someone had the bright idea of time zones. Depending where you are on the planet, it might be the middle of the day or the middle of the night because the Earth is orbiting the sun. Of course, before time zone clocks weren't set at the same time for everyone and no one ate their lunch at 3 AM or had breakfast at bedtime. People used the sun as their guide and the time was set locally. When the sun was overhead, it was midday. As new ways to travel and communicate were invented, knowing the exact time in different parts of the world became more and more important and standard time was needed. Sir Sandford Fleming, I hope that's how you pronounce it, first proposed time zones for the whole world in 1876. In 1884, an international conference at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London, adopted the time zones we know today. Planet Earth rotates on its axis 15 degrees every hour, so the world is divided into 24 15-degree sections, with the clocks in each section set an hour apart. At least that's how it works for most of the world. The zones were all measured from Greenwich, which the 1884 conference decided was the prime meridian, the time at Greenwich is known as Greenwich Mean Time, or more grandly, Universal Time. So yeah, and on the form it's a picture of the world. You see that? And it says at the bottom, the diagram above gives an approximate idea of the various time zones around the world. Time zones are incredibly intricate and would be impossible to detail accurately here. For example, Iceland is actually in the same time zone as England, even though it's thousands of miles away. Using the standardised map, can you work out how many time zones you've been in? If and when you've visited a time zone, colour it in. Flying through a time zone doesn't count. Only standing or sailing in a time zone earns you the right to colour it in. Next time you go on holiday, try to persuade your parents to travel to a time zone that you've never visited before. So yeah. So in terms of my time zones, I've not really been to that many. Most of you know that I live in England, in the United Kingdom, and I've travelled to Wales, and that's I've not travelled to Scotland yet, or Northern Ireland as of yet, but I will do eventually. And other than being within England or Wales, I've only ever travelled to Slovenia, and that was through a twin city project type thing, because the city where I'm from is supposedly the twin city to Ljubljana, which is the capital of Slovenia. They're completely different, it's ridiculous. So those are the only two places I've been, and I don't know what time zone Slovenia is in. I can't quite tell from this map because it's so small. I'm going to have to search up and then be able to colour it in. They're the only two places I've been, because I don't have a passport, and you might be like, how could you go to Slovenia without a passport? That's because I was on a group passport, which meant you didn't need a passport at all. We just needed to fill out a group passport, which just took a photo of myself and my name and date of birth, pretty much. So I've not seen the point in buying a passport. I don't have the money to go across abroad at the minute, and I don't have the time really because I'm at university, so fun stuff. But yeah. Number 8, nuclear weapons. You can see the symbol of the nuclear weapons. It's quite a funky little diagram. When the first atomic bomb was dropped in 1945, it changed the world forever. Many people wish it had never been invented at all. Splitting the atom. The idea for a weapon made from atomic energy had been around since Albert Einstein came up with his equation E=mc², which means there's an awful lot of energy in absolutely everything inside atoms. During the Second World War, when many countries were carrying out bombing campaigns on one another, the race was on to find a bomb that used the power of atoms. Getting at the energy inside atoms isn't easy. For that you have to split them. This is called nuclear fission. Atoms are the tiny units of matter everything is made of, and they are a million times smaller than the width of one of the hairs on your head. So you can imagine how tricky it is to split one. The top-secret Manhattan Project in America gathered together some of the brainiest scientists in the world to try and manage it. Eventually this succeeded. In 1945, 2 fission, or atomic bombs, were dropped on the Japanese cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I hope that's how you pronounce it, Hiroshima. Yeah. Killing more than 200,000 people. Some people argue that the bombs saved lives because they ended the Second World War. Nuclear fusion was developed soon after. This new way of releasing atomic power produces weapons hundreds of times more powerful than atomic bombs. They've never been used in warfare, let's hope they never will be. And there is a whole thing about how nuclear weapons made the doomsday clock go forward quite a bit. And I'm just going to take a drink. And hopefully you all know what the doomsday clock is. Supposedly how close we are to the whole world being ruined and all the rest of it in a nutshell. But it's never been less than 10 minutes to midnight since nuclear weapons were developed. As in, never more, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't increase or decrease that often, but since nuclear weapons were developed, it's been the lowest or closest to midnight compared to before. And it's never gotten past a certain point, which is saddening, but that's life when it comes to scientists and inventions and all that. But anyway, the form is a series of questions, and we're going to try and do them on camera. And this is why I apologise. I am not a nuclear weapon person. I don't have a clue about nuclear weapons. I don't do physics. I do chemistry. I can't stand physics, and nuclear stuff is physics in a nutshell. It's a basic way. So yeah, nuclear answers. Test your knowledge of the quiz below. Once you've completed it, memorise the correct facts and impress your friends. I'm just going to do the questions and then say I've completed it. The answers at the back of the book. Okay. Which year saw the first ever use of a nuclear weapon in military action? Well, they said World War II. Well, the options are A, 1918, B, 1945, C, 1957, or D, 1963. Now, I know one of the world wars was 1945, but I'm not a history person, I can't remember. But that's the one that popped out in my head, so I'm going to go with 1945. Okay. How many people are estimated to have died from the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima and its after effects? Okay, so it said 200,000 people in the instruction, and the options are 1,400 people, 14,000, 140,000, and 1,400,000. So I'm going to go, it says, and its after effects. So I'm going to go 1,400,000 because I do know that nuclear weapons cause birth defects and stuff, and radiation, all that jazz. How many nuclear weapons have been used in military action? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Well, I'm confused by that. Because if it means per bomb, or per thing, I would have to say 2. But if it means, like, weapons as in, like, bomb is one weapon, gun is another, I don't know. I would have to say 1. I'll just put 2. What does A-bomb stand for? And that is the atomic bomb. I know that. Oh, I say that, but I'm not sure. But the options are apocalyptic bomb, atomic bomb, acid fusion bomb, and abrupt bomb. Very abrupt. Question 5. What time of climate is predicted if there were to be a nuclear war? A, nuclear spring, B, a nuclear summer, C, a nuclear autumn, D, a nuclear winter. I say winter. Purely because winter would be the most devastating to humankind, and it said that if a nuclear war was ever to happen, humankind would be wiped out. So I would say winter because the Ice Age did wipe out a lot of things. So I don't know. I'm just trying to work it out, but yeah. Which is the most powerful weapon from the list below? A, nuclear fission A-bomb, B, a nuclear fission H-bomb, C, a conventional bomb, D, they all do the same amount of damage. Well, they don't do all the same amount of damage because nuclear fusion H-bomb, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion bombs do more after effects and have wider radius. So it's not D. C, a conventional bomb, the two are more powerful. I say A-bomb, I think it's more stronger than a H-bomb, so we'll go with that one. How does a nuclear fusion explosion work? A, by duplicating atoms. B, by shrinking atoms to make the nuclei smaller. C, by joining atoms together to make heavier nuclei. D, by cooling atoms down. I don't have a clue. Well, I don't think it's duplicating atoms because you can't really duplicate atoms. Shrinking atoms to make the nuclei smaller. Joining atoms to make them heavier. Let's go heavier. I don't know why. We're just going to go with that one. And now it's asking how nuclear fission works. Joining atoms, splitting atoms, destroying atoms, heating atoms. Let's go with heating atoms. Apart from nuclear weapons, where else can you find radiation? A, sun, B, microwave, C, X-ray, D, all of the above. I know X-ray machines does radiation. Right, let's look for the answers, because I don't know. Which number 8? Nuclear weapons test answers. So it's 1B. We got that correct. 2C. No. We did 1,400,000 when it's 140,000. But I was thinking including the after effects. 3B, we got that correct. 4B, we got that correct. 5D, we got that correct. Winter. 6B, got that wrong, it's H-bomb. 7C, we got that correct. Heavy nuclei. 8B, splitting atoms, is how nuclear fission works. And 9D is all of the above. So technically I was correct because X-ray machines do emit radiation, but so does the sun and microwave ovens, which now thinking about it is an obvious answer, but oops. Right, that's all on nuclear war weapons even. Number 9, money. Money, money, money. Yeah. Bit of singing. I'm just singing. And it's easy to drink with a straw, I think. Yeah, so before money, people got along by swapping things or trading they had for things they needed. You can see how difficult this could be. What happens if you have a herd of sheep and need some clothes, but the tailor only wants potatoes, and how many potatoes make a pair of trousers anyway? So the colour of money. Then someone somewhere had a brainwave for money. Well, it probably didn't happen quite like that. The first units of money were valuable in themselves. Cowrie shells in ancient China around 1200 BC and other parts of the world, small amounts of grain in ancient Babylon, salt in the Roman Empire, and precious metals in many different places. The first metal coins were made in Lydia, modern-day Turkey, about 640 BC. Paper money is useful because it's a lot lighter than coins. It was first used in China from the 800s, when it was known as flying cash. Elsewhere in the world, paper money wasn't used for centuries. Credit cards were invented in the 1950s. Plenty of people probably wish they hadn't been, which is the case. Bank cards, where you can use cash machines, that's pretty good, because you can just take out the amount of money you need and you can get a receipt, and the credit cards, you get your interest and everything, they're a bit rubbish. So it says curious cash. The following have all been used as money in different parts of the world. So in Europe, pepper was once used as money. In the Pacific Islands, stone. And stone is still used on Yap in Micronesia at the time this book was written, which was in published 2008. Well, it's his first published in Great Britain in 2008. Coils of red feathers was used in the Pacific Islands. Dog's teeth were used in New Guinea. In Iraq, it was bread. That's pretty cool. It's a useful currency. In Scotland was iron nails, and in Fiji, whale's teeth. So yeah. And this is the form. You can see that. Oh, you can see the picture that's behind it instead of the actual form. Sorry. There you go. And it says, who needs money? Before the invention of money, to be able to get what you wanted, you had to exchange items. This kind of trading can still be done today. In July 2005, Kyle McDonald began his quest to own a house by swapping items. He started with a paperclip, and a year and 14 swaps later, including swapping a doorknob, snow globe, and a film roll, he now owns a house. So he went from a paperclip to a house. Wow. That's epic. And basically the form is you start off with an item, place a picture of the item you want to start trading with here, when you trade this item, place another item picture in the next box, and then you just keep going along until you get to the last box, and then it goes end item here. Did you end up with something as good as a house? Now, in order to complete this, what I've done is, because I know in real life people are very, very tight with their money, I've contacted a friend. Well, I was talking to a friend on Hex the other day, and I mentioned it to her, and she's going to be asking around for me because she has more powers than I do and knows more higher up people. Basically, I'm going to see if I can do it on Hex. So start off with a small item, like a junk item such as Honeyduke's Best Chocolate or something, and then in a thread within the diagonally or within the house, whichever one I can, because I'd rather do it within the house, as in Ravenclaw house, because then the final item can then be donated to the house and then no one's losing out on anything, really, because it's all going to the house at the end of the day. And with diagonally, if we do it diagonally, then the item will go towards the welcome centre or something that will benefit people. So like, people will still get items, but it's gonna be different, because what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put in a junk and then trade it with someone who's willing to trade anything they have, but it can't be more than double the value of the first item. So, for example, if I had an item that was 5 galleons, the second trade cannot be more than 10 galleons, but it cannot be less than 5 galleons. So then the third trade cannot be more than 20 galleons, but can't be less than 10. And slowly we'll go up, and then the item, whatever we end up with, depending on whatever we end up with, depends on where it goes or what happens to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can do that and start off with a slow trade and see if I get any people interested. And then if they are, we can do a bigger one, such as I'll put in a semi which is worth 2,000 galleons, and then do the whole process again and see how big of a semi we can get, and then the semi can be donated to the house. So I figured we could do the two trades side by side, and that way those that are newbies and can't afford but want to have a go, I'll talk of it like a game, but they want to have a go, they can do the cheaper one, which will probably just end up being the max item will be like 100 galleons or something, and then those that have been around the site longer want to donate or trade bigger items in order to give the house a bigger boost or whatever, a bigger boost, can do so, and it'll be like the max will be 20,000 galleons or something ridiculous like that. We'll see what we can come up with, but that's the idea I had, and I'm still waiting back from my friend to see whether or not it's allowed on Hex to begin with, and if it is, whether or not it's allowed within Ravenclaw house, because that would be pretty epic. And I'd want to do it. It's so bad. So yeah. Moving on, item number 10, which is yet to be, because they all have different categories that I forgot to mention. Like, we have the ancient category, communication, imagine living without, science and tech, food and drink, entertainment, travel, war, and we had another ancient. And now we're on the category yet to be invented. I should mention the categories. Time machine. Oop. Yeah, time machine. Do you wish you could fast forward a few years and find out whether you will become rich and famous, or travel to the distant future and marvel at all the new inventions? If so, get to work inventing a time machine. Futurama. H.G. Wells' 1895 novel, The Time Machine, fired people's imaginations about time travel. Then in 1905, Einstein's theory of special relativity made it seem possible. Its theory says that time isn't constant but slows down the faster you go, and the theory has since been proved. Admittedly, you have to be going very fast indeed. Some scientists have theorized that if it were possible to travel at the speed of light, we could go backwards in time. Einstein decided it meant that travel at the speed of light is impossible. Other time travel theories involve wormholes in space-time, black holes, and other mysterious bits of physics, but you probably won't be surprised that no one has actually managed to build a time machine yet. There's a big problem that any time machine will have to overcome. If you travel backwards in time, you can alter the future, and if you travel to the future and then come back to the present, that can alter the future too. But if you can get around this basic paradox, come up with some extremely sophisticated technology, and understand an awful lot of complicated physics, perhaps you can become the inventor of the first time machine. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't do physics. But it would be an amazing idea, like the TARDIS from Doctor Who. That would be amazing. But you have to live by rules. You don't want to affect the future too badly. But yeah, so the form is that, and it goes: if you had a time machine, where would you go and what period of time would you investigate? Make a list of the years you'd like to visit. So past it. Dinosaurs, Romans, pirates, ancient Egypt, Henry VIII, Shakespeare. Where in history would you visit and why? Name the top 3 places / people / time periods you visit from the past in your time machine. So I would visit Shakespeare. I was writing Shakespeare. I really would. I love his plays. I've read quite a few of them. Not only did I have to do so in English, but I have copies of them, quite a few, on my DS. And even though it's a bit tedious reading plays all the time, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy like analysing the language, the English language then compared to the English language now, and the meanings and stuff, and how the play could have been taken, and so on and so forth. I really enjoy it. Yeah, so I would visit Shakespeare and try and delve into his brain and be like, cool, that sort of thing. Yeah. Another 2 places. Where else would I go, or as in time wise? I suppose I'd go to the Victorian period. Victorian England I did it in history, and it's an amazing time, such as the industry developments that occurred, steam factories, and it's really fascinating when we studied it at school, and it was just interesting overall. But other than the Victorian period, that really interests me is the Tudor period. And I have noticed that these are all English period / Shakespeare, which was an English author. We'll say, playwright, that's the word I was thinking of. And I couldn't think of it to save my life for a while. Playwright. Shakespeare is an English playwright. But I really don't know a lot about history in other countries. Like, I know tidbits because they related to the English history, but I don't know enough of other country histories to go to there. So yeah, but we'll say Tudors. Right, the other side, it says in the future. In the future, will cars fly? Will robots be our allies, or will they be our enemy? Will we have left Earth behind and colonised Mars? Name 3 things you'd like to see in the future with your time machine. 3 things I'd like to see. I don't know. It's a lot of things that could happen, and of course, there's the whole theory of parallel worlds. So something that might happen to us something that might not happen in this world might happen in a parallel world. Yeah. So name 3 things you'd like to see in the future. So I'm trying to think. I'll probably say the future of Hex. I know it's going to be weird. It's a weird thing to think of, but Hex is always improving and getting bigger, and there's always new people to the site, and it's just getting bigger and bigger each time. I've always see someone that's not been sorted yet and get sorted, and they're like, oh, amazing and stuff. So it'll be great to see where Hex would be in like 20 years time. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see what else. The monarchy, I suppose. I'd love to see the monarchy, where it goes, what family it will go down, what time, you know what I mean. Like, the next heir to the throne is William, and of course his wife Kate that is pregnant at the moment. She should be giving birth soon, I think. But what will happen? Like, where will the chain go? Will Harry become king at all, or will he not? It's interesting to me. Anyway, I like the monarchy of England and learning about it all, which is why I would go back to the Tudor period, because of Henry VIII and Mary and Elizabeth and Edward and all those jolly good people. What else would I like to see in the future? Probably the Amazon. Purely due to all the conservative, I think that's the right word. Not the right word, the right pronunciation of the word. Conservation efforts. That's what I was trying to think of. Conservatives, political party. What am I on about? Conservation efforts of Amazon are improving, and I'd like to see, like, if our environment is any good in the future. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting to find out. But yeah, blending. Excuse me. To be a successful time traveller, you'll need to master blending in with the locals. When travelling to the past, wearing your own clothes, talking about modern life, or making predictions about things that you know will happen in the future will probably land you in trouble. You might be burnt at the stake for being a witch. Make sure you get all the up-to-date injections from your doctor before you go, as you don't want to travel to the past and contract the bubonic plague or some extinct disease and bring it back to the present. On the other hand, you don't want to travel to the past with a common cold either and then kill off half the population of the world. If that happens, you might wipe out your own family tree and then you'll disappear as if you were never born in the first place. And it goes back to the past it. If you could travel to the past and change one thing in history, what would it be? What would I change in history? That's intriguing, because everything you change will have an effect. So you could say, like, I would like to change Hitler becoming to the height he did, which caused World War II. But saying that, all the changes that happened to the world because of what had happened then wouldn't have occurred. And although so many people died and it was such a disgusting time period, some changes, like, effects now, like, so many people have learnt from that I don't know, I always try and look for the silver lining of clouds. So all of history has taught us not to do that, and has taught us so many different things about us, like the bubonic plague that helped the health sanitation of this country and others tenfold. So I wouldn't change the bubonic plague, because we might not have the same medicine today as we wouldn't have the same medicine today as if we didn't have the bubonic plague. I don't know how to explain it. It's difficult to explain. But yeah, so if I could change one thing in history, what would it be? This is really difficult, because everybody has things that they'd love to change. Let's think. I would change myself as playing Hermione Granger in Harry Potter. There we go. No, I don't know. That's the only thing I can come up with. I would have loved to have been in Harry Potter. So I'm going to put that down. Myself play Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter films. There we go. So what could come up with. In the future, if you could visit yourself in 20 years' time, what would you hope to find? A master's graduate with a decent job, and a home to call our own. And when I say a home to call our own, I don't necessarily mean that I've paid off all the mortgage, etc. I just mean, like, my house that I'm going to live in. Yeah, because I'm so like that. Yes. But yeah, There's the form completed. That's Griffy handwriting. So yeah, so that's numbers 6 to 10. Okay, 6 to 10. Photography, time zones, nuclear weapons, money, and time machine. I hope you've enjoyed. It's gone on for 35 minutes. So brief what's for next time. Let me just tick these off. See, we're slowly going down the list. This one. We've got fingerprinting, dynamite, satellite, playing cards, and tattoos. Interesting. So, shut the book. I'm not looking. I'll have a brief look to make sure I don't need anything. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you all take care, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.